Hi, and welcome to Thriver TV, the place to break free from narcissistic abuse with quantum tools and understandings. And I really wanted to do this episode to help people who are feeling traumatized beyond measure and feel really mired in the helplessness of narcissistic abuse. Because I've been there myself, just as many people have been, in that place where there seems to be no hope, no way out, and no way to rebuild. But I promise you there is not only a way out, but a way to recover, heal, and start connecting to the trajectory of your life that is your A-game life. The most incredible breakthrough as a result of your breakdown that you could imagine. And it is my deepest wish with this episode that I can help to connect you to how to achieve that. And please know I want to share with you my journey with total helplessness and powerlessness and how it all turned around for me. Because my story is your story. We are all in this together. Being tragically and devastatingly enmeshed with narcissistic abuse brings to mind for me the U2 song, With or Without You, because I know so many of us have lived that truth. When we're at the final breakdown stages with a narcissist, we know we can't survive the abuse anymore, but we have no way to believe that we can survive if we leave either. It's a horrendous double bind. And this is a time when our survival programs are the most triggered. It feels like the walls are caving in on us, and we may as well be standing at the edge of a cliff with an armed cavalry galloping down upon us. And if we jump, if we leave the relationship, we're dead. And if we stay where we are, we'll be crushed and annihilated. In this state, our mind is in overdrive. And we can feel manic and panicked in our thinking. The overwhelm may be so intense that we think that we're losing our mind. I've been there too. I've been there to the level where my mind finally snapped. And I promise I get it. And my heart goes out to the people in the community who have had breakdowns or who are on the precipice of one. At that time when everything cracked and crumbled for me, I didn't know what I know now. In fact, I'd been living my life in the complete reverse to the way that I live it now. Tiggy TV again. What I thought was he can't help himself. He just cannot help himself. What I thought was the answer to extreme trauma was this: obsess more and do more. Try to tackle, offset, and stay one step ahead of what was happening outside of me. And of course, this was a normal response. This is what we've all been taught to do. We were also taught in times of extreme trauma to do anything but stop and look inside ourselves. Why would we do that? Let's imagine a scene of standing at the cliff face and the horses are charging towards you, and then like a Star Wars movie, you did an Obi-Wan Kenobi, closed your eyes, connected within, and the whole thing stopped and you survived. Of course, we believed when our very sense of self and how am I going to survive this is triggered, that going within would be a ridiculous thing to do. But I want you to know this. Your situation is not the literal panic survival torment of standing at the edge of a cliff with every hope crumbling around you. Even though it feels like it, rather this is, as it was for me, the culmination of living life being unconscious and not aligned. We were not self-partnered, and therefore we were self-avoiding, and we were self-abandoning ourselves in our deepest times of need, running from our internal wounds when other people hurt us, instead of going to them and loving and healing them back to wholeness. And as a result, we were suffering our shadows coming upon us in massive force, aka via a narcissist. And the more we hurt until we heal, the more we think. And as a previous over-obsessive compulsive doer who until narcissistic abuse, I could always make stuff happen. But this time around, I discovered that no amount of obsessing or trying to offset or defend was going to make up for my traumatized inner programs that desperately needed my attention. These were my wounds that the narcissist was smashing me with. And this is what I discovered. The more compulsively triggered I was, the more I tried to retaliate or defend. And then I was acting from an inner terrorized space, and it just made matters worse. Everywhere I turned, I was getting throttled by authorities and people who I used to believe would support me, as well as the narcissist. And I was like all of us. When the narcissist was attacking me with all sorts of things, police, other people, authorities, or just good old-fashioned smearing, I would react. And if anybody had said to me, stop trying to survive and fight back, let go instead and go within to the very level that all of this is really going on within your subconscious programs, and adjust it there, and then real life will follow. Of course, I would have thought these people were bonkers. Also, I would have felt the white-hot terror of taking my hands off it all, because what would happen then? Letting go and going within felt like a failure. It felt like the helplessness would become worse, and it could even be the end. And I know how stubborn and cemented in my survival programs of fighting back and taking up defenses that I was. And it wasn't until I lost all physical and mental health that I was forced to my knees to look at it a different way. And I'm so grateful today for my breakdown, because I know I never would have made it unless that happened. Because if I didn't go within, I was going to die, because there was nothing left of me and my life to go on with. And this time when I had the breakdown, everything, the helplessness, it totally went to another level. Now there was no hope the old way. There was no ability to fight back or rebuild. I was done. And this brings to mind a beautiful story that I love. It's a story of Buddha, where 3 men went to Buddha and they asked him where their divinity was. And Buddha said, go seek. So these men went. They went off. And after searching through the entire planet, the deepest oceans, the highest mountains, and every corner and cranny, they came back to Buddha empty-handed. And Buddha said to them, now finally I can tell you where your divinity is, because you would never have accepted the answer until you exhausted every other option. Your divinity is inside of you. And this was me. My life was blown up. There was no physical doing possible anymore. And there was no support network other than antipsychotics, and no options for a restart to my life. Those were the only options that I'd really been given. That was all that was left. What was left really was just me with me. And finally, I turned inwards. And that is the only reason I survived and then thrived, and now help other people globally to make unprecedented thriver recoveries also. And at this time of my breakdown, and when I did turn inwards, the truth was I was already dead. I had nothing to lose. Letting go now did not mean anything worse than where I already was. My traumas and the culmination of my life had already engulfed me. I let go at this time because there was nothing left to hang on to or try to control. It was all gone. And I'm sharing this with you because I know stopping trying to survive it the way we've been trying to And letting go and doing it differently is terrifying. And it feels like the very last thing we should be doing. But I want to extend out my story and heart and truth to those of you that feel the most helpless with your situation right now. Because I truly understand, and I hope with all of my heart, that you don't have to get to where I did. I was cutting it very fine. And even though my breakdown was definitely advantageous, I promise you coming back from that took everything I had, and it doesn't need to be that hard. My greatest wish for you is that you start turning inwards and aligning and healing your life, no matter how it looks now and how bad it is, before reaching a total breakdown. And for those of you who have already broken or are suffering chronic conditions that make your life barely livable, excuse me, I want you to know that you can heal this. But you have to be prepared to let go and do it a different way. Narcissistic abuse is Narcissistic abuse is a spiritual healing lesson of the highest order. It is about reprogramming us from everything we thought to be real, turning that on its head and stepping instead onto a different path, a more evolved path, a path of true self-function, which disengages us from false selves and all the human illusions and trances that we've been programmed into. And this I know with all of my heart. Those of us who've been through narcissistic abuse at a soul level are choosing an awakening of the highest order, not just for ourselves, but for others, to come out of the darkness and into the light. And for this to take place, we were submerged into the deepest of darkness, the bowels of hell actually. And the only way out is to become light, which means namely to free ourselves from all of our wounded, dark places within us, which were previously unconscious to, the parts of ourselves that the narcissist could hook us and hurt us through. Every time I see a soul in the deepest distress on the last verges of their life force, feeling helpless and powerless as a result of narcissistic abuse, I know that what is going on for them is exactly what was going on for me. Their soul calling out to them, come on, please, you want this, you know this, it's time. Time to let go and stop trying to control the exterior, to come inside and heal the interior. Then you will discover your true power and true life. There is no going back to the old way now. It is not the truth for you, and it's never going to genuinely satisfy you. Your real life and self await, not these false substitutes. Come on. Previously, before my awakening and narcissistic abuse experience, I'd learned about law of attraction, but certainly not in a deep quantum way. The old way to heal my life was much more complicated than the quantum way. It was about affirmations and thinking positive and all that kind of stuff. And I'd always had pretty good results on things in my life that were soft topics. Yet in regard to the stickier things, such as personal relationships, law of attraction failed miserably for me, no matter how much effort I applied to it. And it wasn't until 10 years ago, when I got on a quantum path, that I realized that this was because of the unattended to trauma within me that I've been carrying my whole life, making it impossible to have other results than what was matching those traumas. When I stopped trying to battle the trauma outside of me and I discovered the tool, quantum freedom healing, to let go and release and heal the trauma inside of me, my life shifted in quantum ways, miraculous ways. The unhealable, supposedly, adrenal and psychotic breakdown became healed. My destroyed reputation started to restore overnight. Devastation and destitution switched to opportunity and boundless support. It was as if everything that had been shut off from me in life turned to meet me, and life started flourishing me and nourishing me in ways that I could never have tried to control or make happen from my own limited human efforts. When we release trauma, space opens in ourselves for literal life force and well-being to enter. That is the true life that awaits us. That's our birthright that we've all been trained out of being and living. And this is what I'm passionate about showing you, teaching you, and helping you grant yourself. It's already coded in our DNA as our truth. We just need to unlock it. And the people who need this most are the people who I'm talking to in this video. So this is what all of my resources are about, my free resources, as well as ultimately the NARC program, which is the most fast track way I know of to release your traumas and heal. So I hope that's helped. Please come over to the blog, those of you that are feeling helpless and hopeless, and I'd love to continue the conversation with you, to serve you and help you there. So come over to blog.melanietoniaevans.com. So this is it. What else do we do? Keep smiling, keep healing, and keep thriving. Because what else is there to do? This is what we're here to do. So until the next video, that's it from me. Lots of love. Bye-bye.